The battlefield still smoldered when Aaron pulled himself out of the rubble. Smoke clung to the torn metal of downed ships, and the air tasted of iron. He had survived what most of his village had not. The Earth Union's defenses had failed when the alien fleet descended, and now, what remained of his world was under their shadow. He should have been terrified. He should have run. But as he stumbled through the ruin, he saw something that rooted him to the ground. The towering form of their queen. Unlike her warriors, who wore thick armor that glimmered like shards of obsidian, the queen stood unguarded in robes of woven light, flowing alive as though made from 1,000 threads of starlight. Her crown was not metal but bone, carved with runes that pulsed with faint silver fire. Her eyes, cold, ancient, and golden, fell upon him. Aaron froze, a lone human boy standing in the ashes of his home. Instead of striking him down, she raised a long, clawed hand and beckoned. "You are brave, child of Earth. You did not bow. You did not run. Tell me your name." His throat was dry, but he forced out a reply. "Aaron." Her lips curved into something strange, half a smile, half a challenge. "Aaron, son of ruin, you stand alone. What do you desire in exchange for kneeling to me? Riches? Power? Gold enough to build cities from ash?" At her gesture, a chest was dragged forward by 2 of her guards. When it opened, coins unlike any human mint spilled out, iridescent discs that shimmered with shifting colors, like frozen drops of liquid stars. Aaron's heart pounded. Any man would have fallen to his knees for such wealth. His village could have lived for generations on a fraction of it. But instead, he straightened his spine and looked her in the eye. "I don't want your gold," he said, voice steady. "I want your trust." The warriors around her hissed, as though his words were blasphemy. One even drew a blade, but the queen lifted her hand, silencing them. She tilted her head, her golden eyes narrowing. "My trust?" she repeated, as though tasting the word. "Why ask for what no man has ever held? Why reject what all men crave? Because gold means nothing if I can't stop you from burning the rest of my world," Aaron said. "If you trust me, then maybe I can stop this war. If you trust me, maybe your people and mine don't have to keep killing each other." Silence rippled through the alien ranks. Even the smoke seemed to pause, curling slower in the air. The queen studied him as though weighing his soul. Finally, she laughed softly, a sound that was sharp as breaking glass. "You are either a fool, Aaron of Earth, or the rarest kind of human I have met." She stepped closer, her towering frame bending slightly, so her gaze bore into his. "What will you do if I give you my trust?" He swallowed. "I'll prove I deserve it." A dangerous pact. The queen ordered her guards to stand down. Against their protests, she extended her clawed hand. Her skin was cold, and yet, when Aaron placed his smaller hand in hers, a surge of warmth flooded him, as though some unseen bond had been forged. From that day, Aaron was no longer just a survivor. He became something stranger, a bridge between 2 worlds. The aliens, known as the Valor, were a race of warriors bred in fire. They lived by conquest, believed in strength above all else, and trusted no one outside their kind. Yet their queen, Caliph, allowed this human boy into her war council. At first, her generals mocked him. A child of dust, they called him. A beggar playing at diplomacy. But Aaron did not flinch. He listened. He learned their language, and he dared to speak when others would have bitten their tongues. "Strength isn't only in the sword," he told them during one council. "It's in restraint, in knowing when not to strike." Some laughed, but Caliph did not. She watched him with those golden eyes, and something shifted in her gaze each time he spoke. The test of loyalty. Trust, however, was not freely given. Caliph devised tests for him. Challenges meant to break lesser men. She sent him into the mountains with nothing but a blade, commanding him to bring back the fang of a drake beast. He returned, bloody but alive, dragging the massive tooth behind him. She tasked him with calming a Valor warhound, creatures that had torn apart grown warriors. He stood unarmed before its snapping jaws, spoke softly, and to the shock of all, the beast bowed its head. And finally, she gave him the most dangerous test of all. She sent him back to his people with her seal, telling him to broker peace. When Aaron stood before the scattered leaders of Earth, They nearly executed him as a traitor, but he spoke with fire in his voice, telling them of the queen who had offered him wealth, but who instead listened when he asked for trust. "If she can trust me," Aaron said, "then we can trust each other, or we can all die in the flames of our pride." The Council of Earth was divided. Some spat at his words. Some listened. In the end, no alliance was formed that day, but seeds were planted. The queen's choice. When Aaron returned, Caleb awaited him alone in her throne chamber. The walls were carved from black stone, lit by torches that burned with blue flame. She asked him only one question. "Did your people bow?" He shook his head. "Not yet, but they will in time. Not to you, not to me, to peace." Caleb rose, her shadow stretching across the chamber. For the first time, her voice softened. "You are either the greatest liar I have ever met or the bravest, and I cannot decide which makes you more dangerous." Aaron met her gaze without fear. "You asked what I wanted. I wanted your trust. Give it to me, and I'll show you it wasn't wasted." For a long moment, silence reigned. Then, slowly, she removed the crown of bone from her head and placed on the steps between them. "My trust," she said, "is not given in words. It is given in power. If you betray it, Aaron of Earth, my armies will erase your world in a single night. But if you keep it," she leaned closer, her golden eyes fierce, "then perhaps we will both be remembered as the ones who ended the war of blood." Aaron bent, picked up the crown, not to wear it, but to hold it carefully in his hands. He bowed his head, not as a servant, but as an equal. "I won't betray it." Epilogue. The war did not end overnight. Blood was still spilled, battles still fought. But everywhere Aaron went, the word spread. The human boy who asked not for gold, but for trust. In time, the alien queen's armies learned to hold their blades when he raised his hand. In time, the humans learned that not all Valar were monsters. And though the galaxy remembered Caleb as the queen of conquest, in whispered tales, she was also remembered as the queen who once gave her trust to a human boy and changed the fate of two worlds forever.